Yo, what is up everyone? Z-Karma here, back with another Cyberpunk video. In this one, we'll be going over the perk Pyromania. I'll be doing an in-depth explanation on exactly how this works and also show some examples along the way. I actually briefly went over this perk in a different video, but this video is dedicated to this perk only, which is why we're doing it. So if you found this informative or helpful in any way, feel free to drop a like, and if you want to subscribe, you can do so as well. This perk, Pyromania, is found in the technical ability attribute, and you need at least 15 points in this so you can reach this perk. And let's just do a bit of reading. So level 1 and 2 I'm not going to go over. It's very simple. At level 1, you get 8% recharge speed for health items and grenades. And at level 2, you get an extra 10% explosion radius for grenades and the projectile launch system. For self-explanatory. Now for level 3, this is what I want to talk about. It gives you a 5% movement speed increase and a 10% explosion damage for 12 seconds after hitting an enemy with an explosion in combat. So even though it says that these are explosions in combat, there are some explosions that can proc Pyromania outside of combat. And that really depends on what you're using to proc it. So if you're trying to test some of these, make sure that you do it during combat. Moving on, every explosion that hits enemies will create a stack. For example, here, I throw this grenade and it hits 3 enemies. However, I only get 1 stack. That's just how it is. 1 stack per explosion. If it hits you, you get 2 stacks. So it doesn't matter if you grenade yourself, you're going to get 2 stacks. It doesn't matter if you hit the enemy and yourself, the max you can get per explosion is 2. You can also chain explosions. So let's say you throw a grenade, it explodes, and then a barrel explodes and it's a car explodes, so that's 3 stacks. And if they all hit you, that's 2 for each, that would be 6 stacks. Now I want to talk about the things that can proc Pyromania, and I'm going to start with grenades. So the grenades that can proc it are only this explosive one, the incendiary grenade, and Ozob's nose. Anything else will not proc it, of course, because these aren't explosive. And this, not even the EMP will proc Pyromania. Also, environmental objects that can explode can also create stacks. Here's an example. There's a tank here, and the enemy's running by it. I shoot it, and I gain 1 stack. This stack, as you see at the top, begins decaying. So now, I will shoot another tank, but I'm making sure that it also hits me. So that's going to give me 2 more stacks. I shoot it right before my Pyromania stack runs out and get 2 additional stacks, leaving me with 3 stacks. And of course, these stacks actually decay 1 by 1. So if you manage to get another stack before your last one disappears, it'll just stack and they'll decay 1 by 1. So it kind of resets the duration of the one that's still in process. Now let's go over Cyberware. So the only piece of Cyberware that I've noticed so far that will give us stacks would be this one, Shock and Awe. Whenever you take damage, you have a 10% chance to release a large electroshock that deals 500 damage to nearby enemies. So if this happens, you'll get 1 stack and 1 stack only. Unless there are like explosive barrels around you and you somehow explode one of them and it hits you, you'll get 2 plus this one 3. Now for the perks. The perk that will proc Pyromania is actually on the same technical ability tree. It's going to be the time ticking bomb. This perk basically creates a powerful EMP blast 3 seconds after you activate your operating system. This effect will always proc 2 stacks of Pyromania. Always. The reason is because this little EMP actually hurts you a bit, so you'll get 2 stacks every time this goes off. Now I'm going to go over the weapons that actually proc Pyromania, and I don't want to, spoiler alert, some of these are iconics from the new DLC, so just be mindful of that. If you want to, you can skip like 30 seconds ahead. I'm just going to briefly call them out. Dashing Shao, Comrade's Hammer, Deserter Shotgun, Yinglong, Hypercritical, Leica, and the O5. I tested every single one of these, and they were all proccing Pyromania. I haven't gotten every single weapon from the DLC, so if you know of another one that you think might be able to proc it, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to test it, and I'll reply to you to see what my results were. And on screen right now, I also have a list of iconic weapons that have explosion properties, but did not proc Pyromania. So if you want to pause the video right now and see if you find anything you're looking for. Other than that, leave it down in the comments below and I'll make sure to test it. Now let's go over two power weapons that if you read the description at the bottom of the stat modifiers, it says fires explosive rounds. This one as well. Heavy weapon, slightly reduces movement speed and jump height, fires explosive rounds. So both of these fire explosive rounds, however, they do not proc Pyromania. As you can see, no Pyromania stacks with either of those. Don't know if this is a bug on my end. Someone in my comments said that it was working for them. Don't know if that's a bug on my end, but if you guys want to give it a try and let me know if it worked for you. But the only way to get these two weapons to actually proc Pyromania is to add this mod right here, Firecracker. So let's go ahead and try it with the mod on this time. Look at the top of my screen and you see Pyromania already stacking. So let's switch it to the other weapon, the pistol, and again, work. And you see it went to 5 and then it resets the duration. Every time I get on an explosion, watch this. There we go. I was missing. But yeah, it does work. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, well, duh, that's what a Firecracker is for. Well, to that, I gotta show this off. I'm gonna use a different power weapon that doesn't have explosive properties. And without explosive properties, but only this, it won't work. So it's kind of weird. So look, I'll use this one. Nothing. And it does do explosions. Look, I'll show you that it's actually working as a Firecracker. Watch. You see, let me damage you without seeing anyone else. You see the 7 and the 39? There's two numbers that pop up. The top one is the accumulative damage, and the bottom one is one of the damages. There's a hidden number there. So you do 8, 39. 39 minus 8, there's a difference. That's the second number. So it is doing explosive damage. Otherwise, it would just have one number at a time. So let me just quickly show it off. So I'm going to take off this. And this time around, we're only going to see one number. See, now it's just a 32. Now it's just a 29. So, yeah. So Firecracker is working, but I don't know if it's working properly. But we're not here to talk about Firecracker. That would be a topic for another video. Also, one more thing I want to mention is check out the mark this does on the wall. You see that? It's just a bullet. If I add Firecracker on it, okay, look at what it is now. See that? That's the explosion. And let's use this weapon, these two weapons without the Firecracker mod. Look, identical. Now let's use this one. Identical. So now look what happens when I remove the Firecracker from this. Of course, it's just going to be a bullet, but I add it to one of these. Look at that. And what happens when I use a weapon with explosive rounds, like the hypercritical? Boom. That's odd, right? But that's just how the game works. I don't know what's going on there, but only if you have this pattern will you proc Pyromania, which is so odd. But let's step away from that and let's talk about quick hacks. Weapon glitch tier 4 or higher will proc Pyromania. This will basically cause the enemy's primary weapon to explode, and it will create a stack. And the other one that procs it is Contagion at tier 4 or higher. For this one, whenever you affect someone with the quick hack, if they start burning or you use burnout on them, it will create an explosion, and that can also trigger Pyromania. The one that didn't work that actually surprised me is Detonate Grenade. If you use that quick hack for some reason, it will not create a stack. Another thing that you can use for Pyromania is actually barbed wire. So I actually showed it off a bit in my other one, but let me just show it off real quick because it will also allow me to show you how to stack up to 9 times. Look, you have to do it during combat. We're going to use a perk that at 5 stacks, it consumes them and then replenishes your grenade. But then you'll have the active bonuses for 6 more seconds. So let me just show it off. Look, I'm going to get 2 each time because I'm hurting myself. 2, 4, and then you see it becomes 1. That's a 6-second cooldown of all the bonuses for 5 stacks. But I can actually get up to 9 stacks. So if I do 2, 4, that's 5, and then 2, 4. That is 9 stacks right there until that other one runs out. And now I'm stuck with 4 stacks. So I can get 5 again. I can do that. But if I go again, it replaces the other one. You see that? So I'm down to 5 stacks again. And that's easily testable, which I've already tested in terms of damage bonuses and stuff like that. So now let's take a look at the benefits of these stacks. So as you guys recall, each stack is going to provide me with a 5% increase to my movement speed and 10% explosion damage. And the movement speed part works perfectly. Remember, this effect stacks 5 times, but you can actually get it up to 9 if somehow you get just a chain of explosions going on in a battle. But we're going to focus on just 5 stacks for now, since 9 stacks is really hard for people to get at times. So let's show off our movement speed real quick. Here is a before and after getting 5 stacks for a 25% increased movement speed. And here is a 5 stacks versus 9 stacks comparison. Keep in mind, not even halfway through the sprint, my stacks went from 9 to 4. So just pay attention to like the first half of this race to notice a difference. Now here's the interesting part. Damage increase. Here is my damage with an EMP grenade. I did from 209 to 228. Now let's do it with 5 Pyromania stacks. My damage went from 297 to 339, which is around that 50% increase, which is 10% per stack. And if I get 9 stacks, as you can see here, I do around 400 damage. So yes, you can get up to 90% damage on your grenade. And I just want to point out that it's really ironic that the explosion damage works on EMP grenades, but EMP grenades won't proc Pyromania themselves. So moving on, I just want to mention all the things that benefit from this explosion damage bonus. And this is going to be a disappointment for a lot of you, but the only things that benefit from this are grenades. That is it. Weapons that deal explosive damage do not get this bonus. I tested the hypercritical. I tested the Comrade's Hammer. I tested the O5. I even said this one. I was like, this one shoots rockets, literal rockets. They explode. They don't have an excuse. These didn't even get a bonus. And if you're wondering how I tested this, I just basically shot the weapon at a few enemies, looked at both the damage, the area of effect damage, that means what damage I did to the enemies next to them, and then I just restarted and got a bunch of numbers like that, and then I added some stacks of Pyromania, tried again, and the damage were basically the same, like the average damage that I was doing. So these weapons did not benefit at all. Not even the weapons with Firecracker. So I attempted this one. With the Firecracker, I attempted this one. And I attempted as well the other power weapon I have on here. I also tried, of course, the Cyberware part, Shock and Awe. That also did not benefit. And also the perk over here, taking Time Bomb. This also did not benefit from those stacks. And I'm sorry to disappoint, but not even the projectile launch system got any bonus from these stacks. I honestly have a feeling that instead of this being a bug, it's actually a miswording of the description. I believe instead of 10% explosion damage increase, it should say plus 10% grenade damage or something, because it only affected grenades. And also real quick, it doesn't affect thermal grenades. It only affects EMP grenades, the explosive regular frag grenade, and Ozop's nose. Those are the 3 that get the bonus. Not even, I also tried environmental objects, and I'll show an example here in the background. I do 339 or something like that. I don't remember the number, just look at it on screen. I do it without any stacks, and then I try with stacks, and it's the same damage. But yeah, I believe it's just a miswording issue. Although I will say I do prefer if it's a bug. Hopefully it is a bug, so we can get it fixed and be able to use more variety for this perk. As of now, I don't know if it's very useful. If you're like a grenade type of guy that you just like throwing grenades everywhere, it's probably going to be good for you. But man, I expected explosion damage increase on other things. For now, we're left wondering, so hopefully we find out soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop a like on it, and if you want to subscribe for more content, you can do so as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.